guys, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Shelf. I am your host, Timmy G, and this week, what we found off the shelf was... Ong-Bak, released in 2003, action choreography by Panna Rittikrai. This movie is starring Tony Jaa, who actually, this was his first starring role in a lot of other movies. He was, like, before this, he was, you know, just a couple background actors, like a stunt double. He was mainly doing stunt stuff, but this was his breakout role to where he would become the next big martial arts star in 2003. He is like a great action martial arts star now, but back then he was the next big martial arts action star. But it is not 2003 anymore, and he's just great. But I think he's just obviously like the best part of this movie because, well, I think this movie was mainly made to just show how fucking cool and the amount of cool shit that Tony Jaa can do, right? I think that's the entire purpose of this movie, and that's fine by me. Right, is to just show cool Tony Jaa shit, and that's what it does. And I've watched other movies with choreography by Panna Rittikrai, and he is insane. The action that he does is just batshit crazy. It's funny, awesome, and really wild and bonkers at the same time. You know, I just really, really enjoy his choreography, and please tell me any other Panna Rittikrai movies that I may not know about. Name them in the comments. I would like to watch them because I do like his action. But Tony Jaa in this movie plays Ting, who is on a mission after a hoodlum from Bangkok steals the head of the Ong-Bak statue. The name of the movie. The name of the movie. He steals the head of the Ong-Bak statue and he needs to go there and return it to his village. Right? And then he comes across the son of one of the people from the village, and he needs to bring him back to... Well, he wants to bring him back to the village because his father wants to see him. But also, you know, to go back where he, you know, just see everybody again. It'd probably have been a while. But then, there's also this girl who... She doesn't do as much as Ting and the other guy. I forgot his name. The other guy, George, is what they called him in the dub. Which is probably just the Americanized version of his name. But, they do a lot of things, but I think maybe she had a subplot that got cut out in this version, or maybe not. I don't remember. I don't think so. Probably not. Either way, the main story is obviously them trying to take out these, like, evil gangsters that stole the head and are, like, defacing Buddha statues for money. You know, and they're super bad guys, and they cheat, and they're just super evil, and he smokes too much, so he has a hole in his neck, and he uses, like, I mean, that doesn't make him evil, that just makes him he just has bad habits, I suppose. I mean, everybody's got bad habits. Some of them just can't cut them. But, overall, I think the main reason to watch this movie is the fight scenes, right? And they're plentiful in this movie. I think that, obviously, the story is good, and I think it's good enough to where you can be invested in the fight scenes, but I think, like, the fight scenes are like, oh, man, that's super cool, right? That's just, like, in every fight scene, you're going to say that a couple times. Or you're going to be like, that's fucking great because of how ridiculous it is. Because there's a good amount of, like, chase scenes in this movie, and there's, like, the first chase scene in the movie is probably one of my favorite, like, scenes in the movie because they just keep running through these alleyways, and it just keeps getting more ridiculous and ridiculous. Like, Tony Jaa keeps doing really cool shit. He's, like, jumping over shit and sliding, like, doing split sliding under trucks and diving through fucking barbed wire wreaths and shit, and he's doing all this cool stuff, and then George, like, keeps trying to replicate it, and then he just keeps falling on his face and being an idiot and being super clumsy, and then, like, they got this, like, army of gangsters chasing them through the alley, and then the gangsters are trying to get to him, and it's really crazy. I don't want to say everything about it, but it was just really fun. And then there's a tuk-tuk chase There's a literal army of tuk-tuks that chase our two heroes throughout the city, which is really funny. And then there's like a scene where they destroy a lot of tuk-tuks in that scene. A lot of tuk-tuks were harmed in the making of this film. So there's a scene where they get to the edge of a road, and George gets to the end of the road, and he's like almost pushed off, but he has to like get out quickly, but like 4 tuk-tuks fell off the road before he did, and he didn't die. He got out and then, beat up a guy, and then his tuk-tuk fell. No, he stole the guy's tuk-tuk, and then he drove off with that tuk-tuk. How many times am I gonna say tuk-tuk? Anyway, there's also the gauntlet scene where he's in the fighting ring, which he was in earlier, but in this one he fights like 4 guys, right? He fights like 4 dudes in this scene. And first he fights this really cocky big guy named Big Bear. He's like really tough, and he's like really bad, and he's really obsessed with fighting Tony Jaa. He's like, get over here, come on, get over here, I want to fight you, get over here. And he just like keeps like fucking repeating himself, like telling Tony Jaa to get over here because he really wants to fight him. And then Tony Jaa disposes of him pretty easily. But as more people come in for him to fight, the harder they get. And by harder, I mean they just do more bullshit, right? So then he fights this dude who's like, I guess he thinks he's Bruce Lee or something, because he keeps like doing the shuffle, and he like trying to do the fucking Ali shuffle and shit, and he's like bouncing back and forth and doing a bunch of fancy bullshit. And Tony Jaa disposes of him, not as quickly as he did of the Big Bear guy, but not much of a challenge. But then there was Mad Dog, I believe was his name, and they say he's intimidating, but he didn't look that intimidating. He just looked like a normal white guy. I mean, maybe aside from him being tall and strong, but like face-wise, he didn't look very intimidating. He looked kind of friendly, actually. He looked like a guy who just like, I don't know, he just looked friendly, I don't know. But he was not friendly in the movie, bar none. And the funny thing is, his fighting style was just random bullshit go. He would just grab shit and throw it at Tony Jaa. He would pick up a table and throw it at him. He would like pick up a chair and a bench. It was like he had the WWE fighting style. He would just grab random objects and break it over his head. There was literally a scene where he was just like throwing plates off of every table at Tony Jaa, and every time he would run out of plates, he'd go to another table and just fucking keep throwing plates at him. It was really funny. And then eventually, like literally, that was his fighting style, was just picking shit up and throwing it at Tony Jaa. Because eventually he picked up a fridge and tried to like use it as a weapon. I don't know how you would use a fridge as a weapon. It's kind of a hard thing to swing, right? So he just kind of like tried to ram him with the door, and then Tony Jaa kicked it, and then he fucking went through a wall, and it was just completely ridiculous. That whole gauntlet scene was absolutely ridiculous, but amazing. It was so stupid. And I could just go on about like all the fun action stuff, but I don't want to spoil everything for you. I definitely would highly recommend this movie, and there's still some more fun things in this movie that I haven't mentioned. But overall, the movie is just a really, really fun time with really, really dumb action, but really fun action. That's the difference. And it's well done, too. It's dumb, but it's well done. It's very good. And I think mainly that is because Tony Jaa is just super good at what he does. He doesn't say too much because, he doesn't need to. His fists speak for him, right? His actions speak differently. He's got the bionic elbow. He's got that deadly elbow that he keeps doing in the movie. He literally split a guy's head open. So there was this guy who used needles of drugs to power himself up. Right? And he literally, at one point at the end of the movie, he injects himself with fucking 5 needles of that shit. And I'm like, I don't think you can like stack. I think if you inject whatever drug you use to power yourself up, I think you would just kill yourself. I think that's a bit too high of a dosage, but maybe he's just built different. I don't know. And then maybe he is, because fucking Tony Jaa splits his head open with an elbow to the top of the head, and then like 5 minutes later, he's right back up fighting again. Right, so he is just built different, or he's high on adrenaline, which is probably the case. Either way, I'm just rambling here. But overall, I just really enjoyed this movie. And I think you'll enjoy it too. If you're a fan of Tony Jaa, if you're a fan of martial arts, if you're a fan of Muay Thai, specifically, if you're a fan of Muay Thai, I think there's a lot of enjoyment to have with this movie, and I especially enjoyed it. It is actually unfortunate that I realized that the sequels, 2 and 3, are actually prequels. And that kind of disappointed me, because I'm like, I want to know what happens after this movie. You know, I'm not going to say it. Spoiler alert here, if you don't want spoilers for this 22-year-old movie. Okay? We're good now? George dies, because he gets his fucking arm broken by the bad guy, and, well, one of the bad guys. And then after that, the fucking statue, the giant Buddha head, falls on top of him, and then he dies super dramatically, right? He sacrifices himself to get the Ong-Bak head back to the village, a heroic sacrifice, right? But I'm like, I want to know what happens after this, you know, like, I mean, I guess there isn't much to tell after this, you know, I guess he died, and that's it. I don't know, I just wanted to see more of it. But I guess I will see more of it, it'll just be in the past, chronologically. Either way, I'm rambling here. With that being said, would I recommend this movie? Yes, I would absolutely recommend this movie. As I said, martial arts fans, Muay Thai fans, Tony Jaa fans, action fans alike, I think there's a lot to enjoy about this film, and I think you will enjoy it. At least I hope you will, because if you don't know how to have fun with these kind of movies. I'm just kidding. Everybody can have their own opinion. I don't know what I'm saying. Either way, I don't think I'm being too nice. I had a really good time with this movie, and I'm thinking I'm going to rate this film an 8 out of 10. And, yeah, I think I've said what I said. Thank you so much. Peace. So, guys, I hope you all like this video. Share it with your friends. Subscribe. Turn those notifications on. Comment down below how much you liked it. And I've been Running Time HD. Off to retrieve Ong-Bak's head, the Buddha head. Get it? Because that's what he does in the movie. That's the name of the movie. Name of the movie. You gotta retrieve the head. It's a stone head. I actually, for like the whole movie, I'm like, oh my god, are they gonna actually destroy the head? I'm like, his mission would be like moot. Everything that happened would be pointless if they destroyed the head. And I'm like, well, they wouldn't do that, because that would be the bad ending, right? If they destroyed the Ong-Bak head, because that's the whole reason of why he traveled to Bangkok anyway, was to get the Ong-Bak head. And if it got destroyed, then his village would be in ruin, you know? I mean, that's like, they had a festival, man, that they only do every 24 years. And if the statue's destroyed, then how are they going to do the statue in the next 24 years? How are they going to do the festival in the 24 years after that? But there was one coming up, so they wouldn't be able to do the festival because their morale would be so low.